Hey guys, it's Emmanuel, content manager at Duel, and today I'm joined by.
Ollie?
You good?
Yeah, good.
I'm alright, thank you. Ollie's the head of commercial at Duel, and yeah, tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and why you do commercial.
Yeah, sure. So I've spent the majority of my career in commercial roles, mainly working in the creative media and tech industries. Working for consulting firms, a couple of brands myself as well. I've been at Duel for coming up for 5 months now as head of commercial. Basically, what I do here is I work with our brand partners to help their programs become a commercial success. So my team of consultants work with brands to build and develop the programs, and I support that process to ensure that obviously the brand are achieving the objectives that they are looking for from their program with Duel.
Okay. All right, that makes you the perfect guest for this, right? Because what I wanted to talk about today was something that's pivotal to commercial success, right? It's marketing. What do you think of the current state of marketing, over across your years? How do you feel about it now?
That's a huge question.
It's a massive question.
We could talk about that for hours. I think, from what I've seen across the years, both in the industry and as a consumer as well, is there is an incredible amount of noise now. There are more and more channels, more and more ways of accessing and talking to me as a consumer. That we've been at this point for a while now, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger generationally. But we're at this point where there is an incredible amount of noise, and things are in your face all day, every day. Now, whether that's looking at social media platforms on your phone, that could be buses driving past you as you drive down the street, television ads, YouTube ads, you name it, we are constantly being sold to. And brands have, are learning to become more and more innovative in the way that they communicate with their customers. Now, whether that's new customers that they're trying to acquire or existing customers that they're trying to retain. There's a whole new world of opportunity for brands through community marketing, I believe, to be able to engage with consumers and I guess retain them to be advocates for their brand in the long run.
It's really interesting you say that, because as a consumer, I'm not a commercial expert, but it all just feels a bit noisy sometimes. And it's like I see a brand and it's like you've just found a new way to be more noisy, or you found a new way to be in my face a bit more. Why do they do that?
Because they have to. Because of competition, right? You can look at almost any industry now, and there are more and more brands coming into the market every single day. If you look at fashion as an example, right? Before e-commerce, everything was bricks and mortar, right? So the investments required to set up a business, develop a product, promote the business, sell that product, become profitable, was enormous. And that's why the high street dominated. That's why your Marks and Spencers, your Primarks of this world, your Woolworths, all of these brands were able to have large market share. Topshop is an enormous example of that, right? So they had this great, huge market share, and they were able to monopolize the market in which they operated in for a couple of reasons. Firstly, like I said, the investment of getting that business off the ground and that development, and even things like knowing who your suppliers are, internationally. Now we have the internet, which allows us to communicate in ways that we couldn't before. Having that supply chain, having the expertise and the knowledge to be able to run those businesses. That was limited to a very small amount of people if you compare it to today. Now, if I wanted to start a fashion brand today myself, very quickly I could find designers.
You are quite fashionable, by the way.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. But I could find a designer. I could have a website built. I could find suppliers. I could start working with Shopify, build an e-commerce site, right? I can spin that up very, very quickly and very simply at a far lower cost, right? So that means more noise, more people in the world. Now, if you look at an example of a brand like Topshop and the Arcadia Group, which has gone out of business, you know, if you'd have said to anyone 20 years ago that would be the case, you'd be laughed at. You'd be laughed out of the room. But as the way that the world communicates and the channels in which the way that brands can communicate with their customers grows and grows and grows, the noise grows and grows and grows at the same time, because everyone is fighting for that same customer. There are 100 brands that would want to sell me a leather jacket. Probably way more than 100 actually.
Yeah.
But 20 years ago, I'd walk down the high street and go into 5, maybe 6 shops to find that. Now, I'm getting attacked constantly by noise and by messaging to sell me that leather jacket.
Find it fascinating. It's almost like, back in the day, it was so hard to start a business, but the kind of competition was a lot lower. But now it's like, it's a lot cheaper, and as a result, you know, competition increases because everyone can make noise. But the consumer now has to deal with all of that, which is a lot. Yeah. And like you said, they have to. So they have to market somehow. How much does this actually cost?
A lot. It's a lot to stand. It's a lot to stand out from the crowd. And again, there are simple ways of quickly advertising your business. You know, if you look at, you know, the world of TV, you know, billboards, sponsorship, it's very, very high cost, which means it's unattainable for a number of brands, right? So what those brands are typically doing is heading to social media and firstly producing content, organic content, which can be quite costly, but then they're putting money behind that content, right? They're putting dollars behind that content to get it in front of you and I as consumers, to try and grab our attention, to try and grab market share, to get me away from wherever I bought this jacket to their brand. The issue that really resonates from that is it's a race to the bottom, right? You know, people are having to invest more and more and more in their advertising and their social advertising to get my attention, because every day another brand comes along, another brand. So what it means is that noise just becomes louder as a consumer, and as a brand you need to invest in methods and ways which are going to help you stand out from the crowd.
And it's almost as if they are finding innovative ways to be noisy, right? I'm guessing it's a method that worked before, right? So it's something that people don't practice because it hasn't seen returns in the past, but you're kind of saying as time has gone on and more brands are being introduced, as consumers are becoming a bit more numb to the noise, that it's causing a bit of friction or not profiting, that the ROI has gone down.
Yeah, absolutely. The ROI has gone down, partly because of that competition, but also we are, as consumers now, very, very sensitive. Very, very sensitive to advertising. I don't know about you, but if I go on Instagram, you know, I see what my friends are doing on their stories, then I get an ad. 99 times out of 100, I'm quickly swiping away from that.
100%.
Now, what's really interesting about that though, that ad is served to me based on what I like and what I do, right? You could be at home watching a TV show and there'll be some kind of, you know, there's obviously alignment to, okay, if you're watching a football program, a halftime advert might be betting or alcohol, for example, right? Because of the generic picture of the person that's watching that program. However, on social media, it is totally targeted to what you do, right? Now, I've been looking at buying some abstract art for my house recently. I'm getting hundreds of ads every single day for different abstract art artists or studios trying to sell me prints constantly, all the time. And now it's too much, and I'm sensitive to it. If I see one ad or two ads, okay, maybe that's going to pique my interest. But when I'm seeing 15, 20, 30 in very, very quick succession, there's only a finite amount of time and brain space that I'm investing into Instagram when I'm on Instagram at that time, right? And all of these people, so if there's 30 seconds in my brain to allow for advertising and I'm seeing 30 ads, that's on average 1 second per ad. So the sensitivity is so high for us as consumers now. And it's the same with influencer marketing as well. And I'm not saying that these are all terrible things. That, you know, they can be very strong for brand awareness. But again, you know, you see an influencer where the copy is clearly not written by them. It's written by someone in a communications team for a brand. And, you know, it's like, okay, you're promoting this clothing line. Pretty sure if I went on your page, I'd see that you're promoting another clothing line last one. And you know it's an ad. And consumers don't like advertising.
No, we can almost see the invisible gun behind the person's head. You know, read this like this,
the cash gun.
Like this,
it's the cash gun. Paying people to pretend to like your brand.
Okay, so like we said, we've admitted they have had their place, but the issue seems to be being completely reliant on that, and I guess brands are noticing, and they've tried to be innovative in the same field, right? Are there any like stats to really show, you know, especially with paid ads, like how that's kind of gone down?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, brands will typically, you know, to get 1,000 impressions on Instagram, for example, and that's just impressions. They'll be looking at spending about $3 to get those 1,000 impressions. Now, the engagements then on their impressions typically sit at around 2% for brands. Anywhere from 2 to 4%, right? 2%. Some will be higher, some will be lower. We've recently started working with a major global brand. Their content is seen by less than 0.5% of their followers, right? So it's incredibly ineffective. So you get the views, obviously, you get the engagement as a result of that. You know, those $3 might end up, if you're getting 1,000 views of your content with that sort of level of, you know, 2 to 2.5% interactions, that's 25 interactions with your brand for $3. Now that interaction could be anything. That could be a like on a post, a comment, a visit to a website. But then what? But then what are we getting? What is then the conversion rate of me commenting on the post or following your page to me actually becoming a customer? And not only becoming a customer, but becoming a returning customer that's a profitable customer. So your customer acquisition costs are very high, because to convert that one customer, you've got to have thousands and thousands of impressions on average. And obviously it's different for every brand. You've got to invest so much into that, right? So you might be spending, you know, a lot of money on getting that brand awareness, but what does it mean? What do you as a brand value that like on Instagram or that visit to the website? And that's where it's difficult to track and measure the success.
It almost feels as if there's like a hyper focus on like how you digitize human beings, or like, you know, fit them into money in, acquisition out. So then what do people do instead? Because it's something that's so kind of deeply ingrained and people want something different. So yeah, what next? What shift? How do you...
Yeah, well, you've obviously got, you know, a huge rise in the role of community marketing over the last few years. You know, I spoke briefly before about, you know, influencers and what that, you know, what that can achieve for you. It can achieve a lot of brand awareness, but what is it doing to create customers, right? So let's think of customers as a brand. An actual, you know, you've generated a new customer. You know, you want to educate that customer, and you want to provide them with great service and all of that sort of stuff. You want to educate that customer to turn them into a fan. And when they become a fan, then they become an advocate. And that's when I tell you to go to that pizza restaurant, right? Because I'm an advocate of that brand now. Now, to be able to do that at scale, you've got a community within your brand that are able to advocate for you at scale, right? So let's take the pizza example, right? So let's say I follow your pizza brand on social media. I actually do pizza reviews. I have a page. So
on
I am,
TikTok.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I should do that. The amount of pizza I eat. But you know, I'm someone that has a following of, let's say, 5,000 people on a social platform such as Instagram. Okay. Those 5,000 people follow me, the pizza reviewer, because there is great content being produced by me. You can't get that many followers without great content, right? I'm trusted in what I do. People believe in what I say because I'm not doing ads for a generic pizza brand. I'm not going to name one in case anyone's watching or listening. But I'm not doing those ads. I'm genuinely going around London, eating the best pizza, reviewing it, providing that great content. And these people that follow my page, they do it because they like pizza, first of all. That's very important, right? They actually like the product.
Yeah.
They have an interest in that product. Not like TV ads, like I said, where it could be anything that you see. They're interested in the product and they trust and believe in what I say. So, as a brand, what you can then do is you can use me as an advocate of your business to actually drive that awareness, drive that education and understanding of the brand, and then turn into customers, right? So let's look at that journey, okay, of becoming a customer of that brand. You've seen the review that I've posted. You're engaged in it. You eat that pizza, but you go there or you go to that brand with a sense of, you visit their website, say, okay, I am going to purchase from you, or I am very excited about purchasing from you because of the education about the brand and the review of the brand that I just had from someone I trust. So my conversion rate, once I get onto that website, is going to be way, way, way higher than if I'm just following an ad. Because it's a human talking about a brand, not a brand talking about themselves.
It's almost like you are leveraging the trust of somebody else, which is very difficult to do for things that don't exist. But humans buy into humans, people buy into people.
100%.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
100%. And if you look at a little bit at the metrics of this as well and the investment, right? If I've got 5,000 followers as a trusted source, my engagement rate, there's a 50% chance I'm going to have over 5% engagement rate with my content, right? So that's likes, comments, clicks, whatever that might be. That's enormous in comparison to a brand. Not only is it a much, much higher engagement level, the quality of engagement is so much higher because of the human element that we've just talked about and the trust. So if we look at the mechanics, one post from me about the brand that's great content, great education, and provides that high quality lead to the business, right? That one post, to achieve that on Instagram, running the numbers that I've run, I reckon is going to cost you at least $38 as a brand, right? That's just based on some very generic metrics, but the idea remains the same, right?
Yeah.
If you as a brand, instead of spending that $38 on adverts, invest $38 in me as an ambassador, which by the way, is probably going to provide well over $100 worth of value to the ambassador for the cost of $38 because of margins, because of great margins that you have. What do you think I can then provide you? What about the engagement? What about the social follows? What about the reviews? What about the new customers? What about the customer retention? What about the increase in lifetime value? The reduction in customer acquisition costs? The UGC? There are all of these things, some of which are tangible and some are not. But as a brand, how valuable is that to you? How valuable is that 5-star Google review? How valuable is that social boosting on your comments because you've suddenly got loads more followers? How valuable is me influencing you to go to that restaurant and you then influencing someone else as an advocate to go to that restaurant? What impact does that have on your customer acquisition costs? And how does that snowball effect work? So the value, some of which is tangible, some of which you have to work out yourself as a brand. But to me, that's incredibly powerful in comparison to me seeing your ad on Instagram for 2 to 10 seconds.
Along with so many others.
Along with so many others.
All of that noise.
Exactly. Yeah. So like the art stuff, right? I was talking about the art. So I'm seeing, say, 20 ads a day, right? That's like 20 restaurants. I'm not going to eat at 20 pizza restaurants this month. I'd love to, but I shouldn't. I shouldn't.
Probably not.
I might. I shouldn't. I'm not going to do that. So it's noise. It's that noise that we were talking about before. Everyone's competing for that one time I ate pizza this week or this month or whatever it might be. So, and we talk about the art, right? So just getting back to that. So like I said, I've seen so many ads lately. There's an abstract artist I follow on Instagram. I think they've got about 7,000 followers. I'm engaged with their content. They come up on my feed because I engage with it, right? So that's why it's there in the algorithm. That's why it's there on my feed. And they were talking about this art charity, abstract art charity, all around music, which is what I've been looking for. So I read about them. It was real. It was genuine. The UGC was great. They provided me with a click-through link. And guess what? I bought a piece of art within 24 hours that was above the budget that I'd set out to pay for that art. And I've already emailed them about a commission, doing a commission later this year. I didn't get advertised to by this brand, right? I didn't get the Instagram story advert. I read some great copy with some great content from someone that I trust and someone that I respect. And that's where the human connection is unparalleled.
The cost of marketing, the cost of advocacy, I'm just thinking of that $38. If a brand invested $38 in me, it's not just the money, but it's like, oh, you actually, value me as a customer to do so. I'm gonna ride for you in like ways that I wouldn't if you just use that $38 to put your ad on my Insta, on my TikTok, on my whatever, and it's gone way, way further, right? Because I guess a lot of people would be wondering, why would I stop performance marketing when I can measure it so well? But those other things that you said, what do you value? They initially appear hard to measure, So what would you say to somebody who's quite worried about that?
Yeah, I'd say I totally understand it because, that is the norm, and, performance marketing will always have a place and will always be valuable. All types of advertising provide different value to businesses. I think where brands might see it as a cost, that's because they don't understand the value, right? Cost and value are completely different things. And if you're looking at a strategy from a cost perspective rather than a value perspective, maybe you don't have enough education about that right now. Maybe you've tried it before and it hasn't worked. I can totally understand that because that happens across all forms of marketing, right? All the time. Some people say, don't do performance marketing, waste of money. Some people say, don't bother with community marketing, waste of money. What I would say is that the long-term benefits of community marketing, that snowball effect, that's where you drive the real value. Yes, you can make some dollars today. Of course you can. But by attaining new customers and then spending the time, so you've got that new customer, and then when you're investing time and effort in them and they're seeing more about you and they're learning more about you as a brand and you provide them with a great product or service, that's when that customer becomes a fan, right? And when they're a fan, that's when they increase their average order spend, that's when they increase their order frequency, and that's when they increase their lifetime value. At that stage, that's when they become the advocate. And when they're an advocate, they're telling their friends, they're telling their family, they're telling their social following to go and buy products or services from that brand. And it's all the other intangible benefits as well, right? Like I say, brands need to understand the value of a 5-star Trustpilot review or Google review, of in-depth, focused product feedback. You see them all the time. You'll get them, right? £25 gift voucher for doing our survey. I could put no effort into that.
Yeah.
For £25. However, if I'm asking an advocate who loves your brand already, they're going to want to give you the real context. They want you to help you as a brand, and that's where the human to brand relationship is so strong that you keep going back and you keep supplying products or services to that advocate, and that advocate keeps bringing new customers to you, and that's where that longer term snowball effect grows, right? So it's a longer term strategy, absolutely, but to grow a brand sustainably and organically with tangible results, that's where it comes in time.
In it for the long run, right? And
Exactly.
There's many brands that do last, you can see the strength of their communities, and you can see how they value and put their customer like first.
Of course they do. We've all got our favourite brands, right? And I guarantee you, if I asked you why you love your favourite brand, you're not just going to say you love their product or because it's cheap. You don't love stuff because it's cheap. That's a benefit, right?
Yeah.
You love brands that echo your values. You love brands that communicate with you, that listen to your opinions, that are human in their approach, right? Those human touch points, that's what develops brand love, brand affinity, repeat purchase, advocacy, new customers,
What a cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot,
Yeah.
like it's a lot. But if you can get the strategy right, your advocates do the work for you, right? You just got to get that strategy right and continue to invest time and effort into it, and that's where you'll see astronomical results.
Cool. Just what's your advice to people who are marketing, have a marketing budget and need to decide what to do with it?
Oh God,
If it's too big a question.
Massive question. Look, I think there's got to be a balance, right? You need, particularly if you're launching a brand, you do need that brand awareness, right? And that is going to come through more traditional or performance-based marketing, okay? But what I would certainly be doing is having a very, very keen eye on my customers. Who are my existing customers now? Because they are going to be the best people for you to learn more about your business, and they're going to be the best people to bring you more customers in the future. So once you've got those customers, you need to invest in your customer community.
Intentionally and formally.
Exactly. You've got to do things for those people because there's all that noise out there. Someone else will come along and try to take that customer from you. But if you invest the time and the effort in your customer community, they will stay with you and they will bring people to you as well.
Okay. Ollie, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I love
man.
this. And now I think I'm going to be a commercial expert,
Do it.
soon.
Do it. Don't do it.
Don't do
Okay.
it.
No, it's awesome.
All right,
Great.
sweet.
Thanks, Emmanuel.
Thanks so much, man. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.